I am having my coffee. I'm having my cayenne water. My first coffee of the day and my cayenne water now, and it's really working. It truly is. So, I actually had started to gain a little bit of weight. I went up to 135 pounds, and that's unusual for me. So my gut microbiome was out of balance. But as I said, when I'm moving into the latter part of the month, I eat what I have. And I had a lot of treats. I had a lot of breaded chicken. I had breaded chicken. I had hot dogs, those type of things, right? So what I can afford is what I eat. And so I was gaining the weight. So the past couple of days, I decided, okay, I'm going to tone it down. And I did. And put my gut microbiome back in shape. I replenished with kefir. I drink a lot of kefir, and I replenished with that. I started drinking my cayenne water a little more religiously, and there was a period of time where I was kind of like, getting bored with it, so I didn't do it. However, I'm back down to that fighting weight of mine. I do want to get down to 128, and I am 132 this morning. I was 132, so I want to get down to 128. So that will take me maybe 1 or 2 days, and I'll be back down to that weight. So that's a good thing. But I've been looking at my creativity, and my creativity is what keeps me going. It keeps me, it lets me continue with that spark that I have, and sometimes you get bored. I'm 65. Sometimes I get bored with life. It's like there's not a lot of people that invite me out to activities. I mean, I don't go boating. I don't go sailing. I don't, all those things that you might have done when you were in your 20s, 30s, 40s, maybe even 50s. I'm in my 60s. Everybody assumes that when you're in your 60s, well, me, that, I wouldn't be interested. Well, try asking. Anyway, it gets boring, and I don't have a vehicle anymore. I'm quite able to drive. I didn't lose my driver's license. I still have it, but I don't have a car. And so I lost that semblance of independence. And so I've been finding things that I can do. And I love art. I've always loved art. I excelled in art in high school, in grade school, even as a toddler. I loved art. And I had pictures drawn all over the place. And the one thing I can say about my mother is she did post a lot of my pictures on the wall. My older brother was very artistic, and we had a lot of family friends. I even had an aunt who was an artist in a local city. And so it runs in the vein. I have that ability, and it came on my mother's side. Anyhow, I wanted to nourish that. And so as I'm getting older, there's not a lot to do in my empty hours. And so I got into painting, I got into drawing, I got into sketching. I'm going to show you some of the artwork that I did, and I'm very proud of it. I love it. It turned out perfect. But I went a different way. When I was young, I would do a lot of sketches, and I liked the form of the body and the shading and things like that, and I did a lot of that, a lot of sketching. So now I kind of delved into the paint. I love the paint colors, and I've got a bit of a bohemian flair to my attitude now, and my clothes and even my style in my home, there is a little bit of bohemian flair. I'm kind of going back to the 60s and 70s, right? So just be aware of that. Anyway, so I took some paint. I bought some small canvas at the dollar store. Actually, I got it at the thrift store. They were 50 cents a piece for a small canvas. And I got some paints from the dollar store when I could afford it. I stocked up on them, and all kind of like subtle colors, right? Like subtle colors, greens and blues, and I even got a black paint, right? So things like that. But I would start doing paint drippings. I would literally just put the paint on the canvas and turn the canvas, use a fan, spray water on it, just trying different methods, right? Different things, just for fun. And paint everywhere. Everywhere. My fingernails were like black. People thought that like I didn't clean my nails. I took this canvas, my very first one. I'm going to show you my first one. I was dripping paints on it, and I would look at the painting and say, what does that look like to me? What does that resemble like? So I'm kind of like forcing my mind to become creative, right? And this one particular one, I had a lot of white blobs of paint in it. And I thought, I want to try some texture painting, because I used to do it years ago. And I had chia seeds, and I had bay leaves, and I had black pepper and things like that. And I thought, I'm going to try that. And so I just started literally shaking the pepper on the canvas, the wet paint, the canvas. And it started to look like something. And I thought, that looks like a forest. So I need something to resemble the leaves. So I took the bay leaves, and this is what I came up with. I love it. I love it. It looks like birch bark trees in a forest, in the dark of a forest, but there is some light coming in. And I did spray it with spray varnish. So I absolutely love it. I mean, I'm trying to find a way so you can see, but I love it. And it's texture, right? So it's got texture all through the painting. So I took the spray varnish and I spray varnished it. I love it. I love it. I hang it up. This was my first one. Okay, so we're going to move on to my second one. The second one, I started to get a little bit more creative, and I had gone thrifting, and I got a big bag of all these little incidentals, like little butterflies and little ribbons and things like that people use for sewing, right? And I thought I could use that for my craft, so I bought the whole bag, and it was like $3 for a big bag of this type of stuff. Now, I did the painting, and I had another canvas. And this one, I love trees, and I believe that trees have energy, right? Even when they're dying, you put your hand up against a tree, you can feel the heat from the tree. The tree is a living thing, right? And I truly believe that there is a connection there. I really do, because I feel at peace when I'm walking. When I'm around trees, when I'm around nature, I feel at peace. Lately, not so much because of what's happening in my neighborhood, but this is about painting. So I had some silver paint, and I thought, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to use a lot more paint, right? And just a few colors. And so I came up with this. To me, this resembles the bark of a tree. And I had those little incidentals. There was like little beetles and things like that. I used parts off a plant, leaves off a plant, and this is what I came up with. That looks like the bark of a tree, where you can still see the live tree inside, but the outside has dried and formed a crust, right? And then I used these leaves plastic leaves from a plant that I had, and I thought, well, there's still life in there. So I showed that, and this can happen in nature, where the leaves will literally sprout from a hole in the bark, right? And so I put them on. And then this little fella right here is a beetle. And I received in the bag of thrifting that I purchased, there was tons of those. So I thought, well, I'm going to put a little bug on there. And look, isn't that just beautiful? I'm trying to give you a better version of it. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. So I thought, this one, I want to stand this one up because I really do love it. I mean, the paint. Look at the paint. Look at the paint. It looks like the bark of a tree. It's really beautiful, really beautiful. So I thought, I want to stand that up. These were at the thrift store, and they were like $0.25 a piece. So I got one of them. Well, I think I got 2 or 3. And I don't have a lot of wall space. I have cement walls, and so it's hard to get a nail in. So I thought, well, that's perfect, right? That's perfect. And so this stands on, my bureau. Yeah, I love it. It's so pretty. I think it's so pretty. Now, I do got to spray it with shellac, but I gave the shellac away when I was cleaning out my closet, so I got to get some more. So that was my second masterpiece. My third masterpiece, I'm really pleased with. The third one I did, I thought, okay, I've done trees, I've done a forest, I want to do water, right? Next one will be sky, but I want to do water. And I want to do the depths, and I want to show the life in the water, right? In our oceans, in our creeks, in our streams. I want to show the life in it. And so I utilized the paint to create almost like a 3-dimensional, where you feel like you can reach in and touch it, right? And I really did a good job. And it took layers and layers. I would put a layer of paint down. I would spray water on it. Actually, I think I sprayed vinegar water. I'm not sure. Might have been just water. But I sprayed it, and it would form almost like a hazy type of look, right? And so I continued that. I would put paint, the paint I wanted, then I would spray a little bit of water and I'd let it dry, then I would do it again with a different color. And this is what I came up with. And it looks like the bottom of an ocean with the seaweed kind of floating in the background. You can even see a little bit of life under the ocean. I just think it's so pretty. I don't know if you can see that. The lighting's not the greatest, but look at the, it goes from dark to light, and you can see little pieces of gold and things. So the ocean is full of life. It's full of life, right? And so I wanted to show that in my paintings. So these are my paintings, and I'm really pleased. And it gives me something to do. It gives me something creative to do to keep my mind working, you know. And I like that creative aspect of my personality, and I want to thrive. I want to feed that aspect of my personality. And so this is what I've been doing. I'm trying to find a way to show you. I mean, you can see here where the waves in the ocean, where there's like dark currents and then there's light currents. You literally, I don't know how I could get, maybe if I put the light up a little bit. There are different shades there. There are different shades. When you move it, you can literally, it's almost like you can see the movement of the water, right? I mean, you can see the white, and as it gets darker and things, it's just, I just found it really pretty, really pretty. So these are 3 of the artwork that I do. I am going to continue. I'm going to make myself an art wall. I have, my children are very artistic, every single one of them. But I do have one particular child who does a lot of artwork in their spare time. And they literally have an art wall, right? And it's not my wall, so I can't show it on my channel, but I find it very fulfilling. And I find my serenity when I'm painting, when I'm drawing, when I'm sketching, when I'm singing, and I love to sing. Anything creative in my life, I find that it brings me that balance that I need, you know. And like I said, healing is all about the mind, the body, and the spirit, and working in unison, right? I mean, think about it, right? There is so many different energies out there. There is life in the water. There is life in a puddle, okay? There is life in a leaf. There are things that we see in a certain form, but we don't see underneath that form unless you have a microscope, right? And there's even life. When you look under a microscope, you can see the smallest amount of life, but life is everywhere, and we need to nurture it. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So, mind, body, and spirit, I shall see you on the next video and show you my next artwork. Namaste. Bye-bye.